Okay, welcome back, everybody. Here we go again, getting ready for summertime and Don't Starve Together. We're on day one. It's raining like crazy, so we have only a few minutes before we kind of have to get started on our adventures. If you know me, I stream twice a day on Twitch TV. I love to play Don't Starve Together and many other survival games. If you ever want to play along with me, you're always welcome to do so. You can join the Discord with me at any time. All the links are down below in the description. If you guys want to follow along on Twitch TV and ask me any questions, you can do so while I'm live, or you can also do so in the comments. So don't forget to like and subscribe onto any of these videos and tell me if you have any questions or if you have any tips for me in the future. All right, well, Wilson is already beginning to overheat. Once again, it is raining, but this is leftover rain from springtime. First things first, we're going to do what we said before, what we promised ourselves. Finally shave. Wow, that feels nice. Don't throw away your beard hair because we can use it for awesome things down the road, but if you decide to use it as fuel, who cares, right? It's not a huge problem. First things we're going to do, we're going to clear out a little bit of our inventory. We're going to make sure that we eat any of the food that's in our inventory before it gets bad, any leftover things that you find along the way. We're going to get ourselves ready to start fishing. So this is the route that I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you what to catch and how long it takes to catch the blueprints in order to make our special items that we need inside the game. And I'm going to go back to the base in order to show you what we need to make. So let's head on home. Get there as fast as we can because sooner or later we're going to need to fight the antlion. Don't feel rushed right now. The antlion is not going to attack the first day of summer. It's going to take a few days in order for the antlion to build up the courage to decide to attack you. So do not feel rushed at this time, but try to focus on, making a few trips back and forth. Go back, find the necessary things that you need to get. So first thing on the checklist is get yourself some silk and get yourself some stuff to make a fishing rod. And I'm going to show you how to make a fishing rod in just a few seconds. So how are we going to get silk again? Well, we're going to go back and we're going to fight some spiders if we can find them near our base, get ourselves lots of silk, get ourselves lots of armor, which we already have actually made a lot of, and we're going to get ourselves lots of logs. So logs and grass will get us the log suits that we need in order to fight the antlion, and then we're going to give ourselves a little bit of time to kind of prepare to make some other utilities in order to fight as well too. Once we're done killing the antlion, and once I've showcased on how that gets done, I'm also going to show alternate routes on if you decide to live in the caves or if you just decide to live somewhere else in the world temporarily until your base is nice and clear through summertime. But once again, if you're gonna live anywhere to try to avoid the antlion and the antlion attacks, I would really suggest living in the caves. The only downfall is a few different things that might attack you, and that's why I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're starting out early game and Don't Starve Together. You don't want to feel overwhelmed by running into the caves and having to kind of fight off new things that might attack you down there. Okay, so we're back at home. Berry bushes are beginning to wilt a little bit, so we're going to want to make sure that we grab any of the extra rot that we have, which here we go, and let's go ahead and fill up these things real quick, and then we can get right to the business. Okay, so we had one fishing rod. Unfortunately, that fishing rod is not going to do what we need. We're going to need more than that. So let's check to see if we have any leftover silk. We do have 11 silk, which is perfect. Let's go to our alchemy machine. Let's go under survival, scroll down to where it says fishing rod, and it requires 2 twigs and 2 silk. How many fishing rods are we're going to need? Well, I mean, as long as we craft the fishing rod, that's all that matters. Let's take the silk, bring it back with us. Let's leave a few resources once again. Now, as we go on into the Oasis, there's a few things we're not going to need. We're no longer going to need our pickaxe. We might need our axe, and we should probably keep our shovel for digging up some stuff, just to clear out a little bit of inventory space. But we're going to want to focus again on silk. We're going to want to focus again on getting logs, and we might as well take our log suits as well too. Even though they're low percentage, we might need them, so why not? But as we go on, we're going to go back over to the Oasis. It's still raining, so you have a little bit of time. Now, if you are ahead of schedule, meaning that if in your game it actually did not begin to rain, then you might have already encountered to where summertime has already hit you very hard. But normally you encounter things like the rain first, and there we go. Okay, sorry, let's cut the talk real quick. Oh no, Abigail, okay, that might actually happen inside of your game. Abigail accidentally aggroed the accidentally aggroed the hound, and as you can see, that's why we have the flingamatics in the very middle of our base, because of that specific reason. During summertime, I mentioned before that the hounds will show up, and the hounds will show up at any moment, and they will attack you. And there's another firehound right here, and that's why you want to have the flingamatic in the very center of your base in order to stop any fires that the firehounds will happen. So that's why I mentioned before, the firehounds are a big problem, and you want to make sure that you have multiple flingamatics, even in the Oasis. I know lots of people might tell you otherwise, but if you do not have a flingamatic in the Oasis, it's not going to stop, or it's not going to prevent fires from burning down stuff within your base. So you're going to want to make sure that you have one there as well too. So that's why I mentioned before, when we had the endothermic fire pit in the other area, which if we go back there real quick just to show you, that's why when the hounds attack, we still have our hound trap area, but now we have our endothermic fire pit in case we're overheating when the hounds attack, and we also have our regular fire pit for wintertime when the ice hounds attack. So there you go. You're able to see the hounds attacking us right then and there. So as I mentioned before, if you're ahead of the game, and it's already summer, then you're going to want to skip ahead a little bit until we reach there. But for us, we have to wait for the Oasis to basically dry off before we can get to see the storm. So what are we going to be building and why? Well, sooner or later, we're going to go in here and we're going to see something that's going to be added to our availability within our tabs. And where's it going to be under? Well, you can't see it yet because it's a blueprint. It's a hidden blueprint. So let's take our stuff and let's get started. Let's grab a few things to make sure that our sanity stays nice and top notch. By the way, in summertime, our umbrella is a blessing in disguise. But man, we're already starting to overheat. What are our options here? Cooling off? Well, where's our thermostone? That's why we left our thermostone in the fridge. As you can tell, the thermostone is already completely cooled off as it sits inside the fridge, which is awesome. And we also have our handy dandy endothermic fire, just a regular fire, not our fire pit or anything. So that way we can always use that if we need to. Let's take our bird and also release it, let it into the wild. It's beginning to get a little bit crammed in there for it anyways. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our endothermic fire pit. It's nice and cooled off. Let's head back to the Oasis now that we have our fishing rods. We have our extra silk for going to try to catch a few other things. We have our log suits to put there. Let's grab some extra logs as well too, so we can make even more things. Our little friends here gave us all the, you know what, for the time being, we don't need to have these axes on us or this. Let's just drop these off. We have a full stack of grass. Let's go ahead and grab another stack because, why not? I would suggest leave maybe 1 or 2 log suits back at the base if you can. That way you have extra just in case. Let's grab some more grass and let's head off to the Oasis base. Now, once again, my opinion is living in the Oasis is okay if you're used to it. But for right now, this is only a demonstration on getting yourself ready to fight the antlion. So we go back to the antlion every single time in summer because I want you guys not to have your base destroyed. If you feel that, hey, I don't mind if my base gets destroyed, because keep in mind, it's not a huge problem. Like when I say your base gets destroyed, the whole base is not going to explode, but the antlion will crumble and cause craters, which will be very annoying and honestly not the best things to look at. So when I say craters, what does that mean? So normally when a meteor in Don't Starve Together, if you've ever seen it, when they fly on the screen, it just flies and it just hits you, or it creates it doesn't actually make a divot in the ground. But when the actual antlion attacks, it'll make a giant crater. And when you go to walk through it, your character will kind of walk very slowly, and it just, it kind of gets in the way of productivity. So that's why most people opt to fight the antlion. That's not the only reason that they fight the antlion. When you kill the antlion, you also get a special item after doing so, which I will save for a surprise when we eventually kill it. And like I said, so this is why I just want to get you showing on how to do it, because honestly, fighting the deer clops and fighting the antlion are huge. They are very a big accomplishment in Don't Starve Together. And once you finally do it, even if you die a million times beforehand, when you finally manage to kill it, you're going to feel, a sense of, I can't believe I did this, and it's just like getting past winter for the very first time. It's a much needed thing to do in order to kind of progress further through DST. So here we are, we're back in the Oasis, but once again, things are not changing here yet. Why is that? Because things are still damp. If you look around, you notice there it is. Oh, perfect. Off. It's so nice to see. Okay. So we got to witness the transition in firsthand. So now the storm has hit. So outside the Oasis, obviously you're not going to have a storm like this. So we walk over to this area and we're like, there's no storm here. But as soon as you enter into the Oasis, the storm begins. And this is why we have to begin to start our adventure on fishing as much as possible, because we have two options. When you go to fight the antlion, obviously if I'm out here, how am I going to fight the antlion like this? How am I able to see? How am I able to get past this storm? The antlion is going to be spotted in anywhere in the Oasis, generally in a specific spot, but I won't tell you exactly where because it's a little bit complicated with, you know, how you can generally like know exactly where it's going to be by looking at your map, but I'm not going to bother going in too deep into that stuff. So if you find the antlion on your map by yourself, that's awesome. But how are we going to fight it if we have to counter this crazy wind? Well, that's where this pond comes into play. That's where the idea is with what I mentioned before about how if we find the blueprint, you know, we're able to make the special utility. So let's turn on our Fling-O-Matic for just the sake of keeping it on. Why not? And let's start preparing ourselves for our fight. We're gonna take all of our stuff that we just got, all of our rope and all of our logs, and we're gonna begin to craft as many as we can. You don't need to go overboard. You don't need to make 20 or 30. I would say, you know, a max of maybe 10 is probably the perfect amount. I would probably say. I'm not too sure if that's, you know, if you have enough resources for that. Minimum of maybe 5 just to make it easier on yourself. And log suits are not the only thing that we're going to need, though. Back at base, our friends are preparing plenty of meals for us in order to heal. As I mentioned before, pierogies are probably one of the best things. If you can gather any of the other resources that I've mentioned previously on my previous videos on how to keep yourself nice and healed up, that is also wise as well too, to make sure that you're crafting other resources. And I'll show you how to do that again. Okay, so there we go. 9 log suits. Just for the sake, let's go ahead and make ourselves a nice little tidy little chest because we're gonna want to have that. Let's put that right here. Let's put some extra stuff in there, some spare logs, our hammer.
Thanks again for watching this video. See you in the next one.